This is Jackie, and I'm talking with Jono of Bloom. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. It's nice and early here. It's 8 a.m. So, ready to start the day.
Well, I will take it easy on you. I will start the day on an easy note. Your new album, The Light We Chase, comes out on October 31st on Halloween. I love that Halloween's on a Friday this year. In
Mhm.
Australia, are there any Halloween traditions, or is this just a weird American holiday that we do?
There's not really traditions, but we do in Australia. Halloween is definitely celebrated, just not to the same extent as it is in the States. We were in America last year for Halloween. We were on tour when it happened. I think we were in Connecticut, and I remember walking through sort of like the neighborhood near where we were staying, and every house had sort of taken it to that next level. We don't really get that too much here, but we still get trick or treaters. We still get kids dressing up and getting involved into the Halloween spirit.
Good to know. Good to know. It's not just us every once in a while.
Yeah.
At least that's a holiday that we can share where it's positive and fun and silly. And I think we need some more of that from time to time. So the new album comes out soon. How is The Light We Chase an evolution of sound since last year's Maybe in Another Life?
I think this time around we were more confident going in. We kind of did the album in quite a short period of time in between a couple of different tours we were on, and I think for us doing the second album, maybe another life was kind of finding our feet and looking at doing what's involved in making an album. But I think for us, the light we chase was a much more confident album. We were able to experiment with different sounds and kind of use feedback and response from the last album to shape um, what that record would sound like.
And what does the album's title mean for you? What does it represent?
It's kind of like a bit of an umbrella for a couple of different themes on the record. I think the light we chase is both, the thing that's in front of you, the aspiration, the goal, the I suppose the thing that keeps moving alongside of you, but it's also the warmth or the comfort of your memories and your nostalgia and upbringing and trying to yearning for that simpler time, for lack of a better term. And I think the light we chase kind of just encapsulates, uh, you know, in the present, how your future is informed by your past, and how your future is, it's always up in the air. You don't really have much control over what's coming.
And you mentioned the album came together pretty quickly. Who or what inspired the songwriting process this time around?
We were kind of, it was super collaborative, to as most of our stuff is. I remember when we were in the States, we obviously spent a lot of time together. We were driving it ourselves, and all the conversations that come on a long road trip spaced out over a month. We started fleshing out the idea for the album, and really sort of refining down the concept. And if we're to do album two, what are the things that we want to say? And I think from that, it kind of just snowballed into, okay, look, let's get into the studio on these dates and experiment with some different sounds, and start fleshing it out. And I think it just came together really organically. I don't think there was one person who was sort of the lead songwriter for it, but there was definitely a lot of different influences that came in on the record, and different ideas that sort of got boiled around in a stew.
Are these songs autobiographical and therefore hopefully more cathartic to play?
Yeah, I think there's an element of you know, everything that we sing about in our songs is always, it comes from a place of an experience that we've all had. A lot of songs on the record directly reference the suburb that we grew up. We kind of grew up very close to each other, and we all had really, really positive sort of childhoods and young adulthoods. And I think one of the first ideas that came to the table with the album was kind of, let's write a love letter in a way to those earlier days, these shared experiences that we all have. And yeah, I think writing about stuff that's very personal to us has always been kind of at our core. I think we find it empowering, and we're more comfortable writing songs that are true to what we've lived through.
Tell me about what you think enabled the band to get the album together so quickly.
I think it was kind of a beautiful storm in a way. We were in between tours when we started doing the album, and I think everyone in the band was so focused on the band, and we were really in it for such a long period of time. We started the album in January, and then as soon as we finished, we were on tour, and we came back from tour, and we kept working on the album. And I think because we weren't getting pulled out of bloom mode back to our everyday lives, because we were kind of in it for so long, everything kind of was able to work at an accelerated pace. Yeah, it was just the beauty of being busy was that we were very productive at the same time.
Do you think the rigor impacted the final product at all, or was it just kind of organic to what was going on at the time?
There's definitely some influence. I think one of the interesting things is when you're working on a project and you're reaching, I don't know if saying a level of exhaustion is correct, but I think by the end of the record, and especially sort of as we were wrapping up a big chunk of touring, I think a lot of our guards were down, and we were able to kind of speak more openly, and we were able, yeah, our communication was really strong, and it meant that we were kind of able to make decisions that previously we probably would have stewed on for longer, pretty quickly. I think it was the benefit of I've been around these four people for the last 3 or 4 months, and I can kind of say what I feel, and not have to worry about how it's going to be interpreted or anything like that. And I think all of that between all of us just kind of helped move the process along.
And you mentioned earlier that you collaborated. Who were you able to collaborate with this time around?
Yeah. The big difference for us this time around is we worked with a brand new producer that we hadn't worked with before. Sam Basal, who plays drums in Ocean Grove and just did the Thornhill record. He did the Void of Vision record, the Yours Truly record. He's a close friend of ours, but we'd never worked with him. So for us, one of the biggest differences was actually in the songwriting, and how we approached recording a song. It was a completely new process for us, and it was really cool to collaborate with someone who had a completely different perspective. Uh, Outside of Sammy, we also have features on the record, which is the first time we've ever really had credited features. So Pat from Movements, Michaela from Yours Truly, and Jack from Void of Vision. Jack and Michaela are close personal friends of ours, and Pat is sort of an icon in his field. So yeah, it was exciting to have so many different things come together for this record.
How do you think you benefited from those collaborations?
I think anytime you collaborate with people who are as talented as the few I just mentioned, there's a different perspective, or there's a different flavor that's added into the song, or into the project. I remember we were working with Pat on "Keep You," which is the song he features on, and we thought we had the part written, and cool, here's what we think would be great here. And he came back. Oh, I've got a visitor. He came back, a couple days later, and was like, "Hey, I wanted to rewrite this part, and here's an idea that I had." And it was such an improvement over what was there as a placeholder already. And it was like, cool, this is the benefit of working with someone outside of the project is you just get a completely different and unexpected uh, uh, addition to the song.
Obviously, fans have only heard a little bit of a taste so far, but what messages do you hope your fans walk away with having listened to the whole album?
I don't know if it's necessarily a message, because I don't think the album's trying to, send really push a particular message. But I think for fans of the band, it gives a really interesting insight to where we are, and how we sort of feel about our current position. I think songs like "Withered" are an interesting insight into the band. That song is kind of written about how, we've been doing this for 8 years, and there's points in time where it feels, maybe it's kind of it's more work than it's worth, and there is a level of sort of suffering that goes into committing to any sort of project that takes up so much time. And I think for fans or for people coming across the band, the album kind of paints a pretty telling picture of where we are as individuals, and gives a little bit of insight into our past and the headspace that we're currently in.
And you mentioned Withered, which there is a music video for it. What role do you feel music videos have in 2025?
It's different to when I grew up on music videos. I think I hate to talk marketing so early in the morning, but I think short form media and having your little moment, you can't really do that with just audio these days. I think for people who are maybe my age or grew up on the music video golden age, I think there's such a nice element that can be added from a music video, and shows a really interesting, how the artist envisioned it alongside how it sounds. But I think the truth and the maybe not so fun part of it is you need to have some sort of video content to support what you're doing. Otherwise, people are just not going to notice.
That's fair. How does the track Life Moves On Without Us represent the band's sound now?
I think that song kind of came together. Uh, that song was probably the one that we spent the most time on, and worked uh, through the most rewrites and experimented with. I think it's heavier than our usual style of writing, but I think it has bits that we've we had to try out, and kind of bounce around different ideas on. I mean, originally there was going to be a fully clean chorus, but then we kind of used the pre-chorus as sort of this main hook for the song, and there was quite a few different bones for the song that were bouncing around. And I think for us internally, that song was us trying different things, and kind of testing our ability to just take the best parts of a song, and sort of stitch something together.
So, music is often here for us when other things or other people aren't. What music do you turn to when things are not going the way they should?
My music sort of taste is it's not really into the heavy world too much. I obviously I love heavy music, and I've grown up on heavy music, and I love making heavy music. But I think I've also consumed so much of it that I'm often looking for something else when I'm listening to it. I think at the moment like I don't know how to describe it other than like sad girl acoustic guitar music, like Julian Baker and Phoebe Bridges, Gigi Perez, sort of really emotional, and where so much of the song is stripped back and has a lot of space to breathe. I think that if I'm particularly sad, I put on one of my favorite sad albums, and stare out the window while I'm driving in the rain, and kind of just simmer in that feeling.
I mean, those are some good artists. So I don't blame you. I think it's very interesting that some people will put on sad music when they're sad, and other people will put on happy or fast paced music when they're sad.
Yeah,
And I feel like people fall into one of those two camps, but never both. So it's interesting that
yeah,
that's what you gravitate
right.
towards. I love that. How does it make you feel when a fan comes up to you and says, "Man, I listened to your music when I was in a bad place and it really helped"? Like I can't fathom like how you respond to that other
It's
than
it's
gratitude.
yeah, it's definitely gratitude. It is still like to this day. We've been at this a while, and we've been touring pretty aggressively. It is still crazy every time that someone comes up and says something to that effect, or especially if it's right off the back of a new release, and someone comes up and is like, hey, you did this, and these lyrics really spoke to me or helped me get through this or that. There is definitely it's kind of just gratitude, and making sure that those conversations I'm keeping hold of, because they are really special, and they really sort of motivate us to keep pushing. And when stuff gets tough, it's you kind of think, at least I've put a lot of work into this. I hope that it has an impact on someone in some way, and to kind of get that direct feedback from someone is always really special.
And Bloom has toured pretty extensively. Do you prefer outdoor music festivals or more intimate club gigs?
I think I prefer an intimate club gig. I think we haven't done too many outdoor festivals, and we've done a lot of indoor shows, and that's where my comfort's at. We've done the few outdoor shows that we've done have always been really, really hot or raining. So I'll take a climate controlled indoor venue any day of the week.
I don't blame you. Well, The Light We Chase comes out October 31st. What's up next in the next couple of weeks in the build up to this album release?
We leave for Europe tomorrow, and we're in Europe with Thornhill and Ocean Grove for about 4 weeks, doing Europe and UK, and then we fly straight across to America to do a North American run with Silverstein and get home on Christmas Eve. So we're going to be away for just 2.5 months, touring the new record, which is really exciting, and then. For fans back at home, we've got stuff in the works for next year, a little headline run that we'll be doing to support the album.